violently canceled recently?
Not violently, no. You want to talk? Fuck, we're going to get into that right away, are we?
I forgot about it until you were talking about tennis. For some reason, it came in my head.
Well, maybe I should stay in my lane and only talk about soccer because maybe I get in trouble if I don't. But no, I mean, just...
What got you in trouble last time?
What got me in trouble, if you're referring to what I think you're referring to, it wasn't really all that bad.
How many times have you been canceled?
0 to 1 times.
Okay.
Depending on how you want to...
So that time, like, what happened?
What happened was Samson was on the pod, and I never have comics on the pod. I just hadn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had other comics on the pod. I should say I hadn't up until that point had local guys on the pod. I've not been doing stand-up that long, so I'm not really that close with anyone, or at that point I wasn't really. So it's not really a thing I had done. But I thought Samson's a funny guy. Let's have him on, because sometimes I'd just be on the phone with him. People that don't know who he is, he's an open micer here who's been doing it a little longer than me. But
Samson's been on the podcast.
Okay, great. So he's very funny. Sometimes I'd be on the phone with him and he would just say outlandish stuff, and I'd look and I'd be like, dude, we've been talking for 45 minutes. This is a podcast we just did.
And he's hilarious.
He's hilarious. You know, like I'll fucking call him and he's like, he's Jewish. He's like, I think he said something along the lines of, I don't want to burn his, it's not even a bit, but it's his idea. But he said something along the lines of, yeah, man, isn't it funny how the only people that'll ask you if you're Jewish are Jews and Nazis? It's like crazy shit like that. And I'm like, I'm listening. And then we just riff on that. And I'm like, this is good. Come on the pod, And we start riffing. And Samson's a fucking scatterbrain guy, and so am I. And we're just kind of interrupting each other. It's a little all over the place, but nothing really bad is said. At one point, he's telling a story about how when he was in high school, he was wrestling at Bialik, which is a Jewish school here. And he went down to the reservation on Kanawake and wrestled people there. And Kanawake Survival School is a high school that anyone who's wrestled in Montreal knows to be scared of, because they're killers. They're absolute motherfuckers. They're incredible wrestlers. And Samson,
I didn't know the natives like wrestling.
I don't know.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
A lot of pent up anger, maybe.
But I didn't know that they have the wrestling. I didn't know that was a thing they did.
It's a good program. I don't know how good the coaching is, or if they're just I don't know. They just have the fucking.
I learn something new every day.
Yeah, I don't know. The fucking spirit of the fucking wolf just inhabits them, and they maul people.
Good.
So Samson's telling a story about how he once apparently
got beat up
by a native guy whose girlfriend was pregnant on the sidelines. And it's just a funny story. Whatever. I was in Florida when the episode came out. I was on vacation with my fucking balls in the sun. I posted another clip of the pod. Samson didn't like it. Told me to take it down.
Okay.
I was like, all right.
What was the clip?
It was funny. It was just him talking about the Jews. And he's like, I don't know. This kind of looks like I'm, going after my own people. He's in his head a little bit. Yeah. He's a good guy, but he overthinks a lot of stuff. Respectfully. I think he should do it less. But anyway, he's still very funny. I say, no problem. Fine. I'll take it down. And I'm thinking I'm not going to post from this episode now. I'm like, fuck it. I'm not posting any more clips. I do it myself, right? And then Samson goes, look, I'll send you a list of curated topics on the pod that you can cut from. I go, no problem. Feel free, whatever. First one on the list, Kanawake wrestling story, or just wrestling in general. So I cut that clip. I post a clip of Samson telling this story, but so that it's not out of context, I cue it up by making clear that we're talking about indigenous people. And I queued it up like shit. Like I cut the clip really poorly.
How'd you queue it up?
I queued it up with a clip of me.
What's the deal with these natives?
Oh God. The sequitur was me saying, so the natives, this is almost a direct quote. I go, so the natives get fucked up by alcohol on the reservations. And then Samson's like, I got my ass kicked by one once. And
that sounds like he got drunk and fought a native.
It does, but also I think the people were mad that he was implying that they all knock up their girlfriends.
I didn't even know that was a stereotype.
And I think Samson said the kid was like 20 years old, so apparently he had failed a grade. So that's also a stereotype.
More than one grade if he's 20.
I don't know, man. It's just that was the gripe with it. But I admit I cut the clip like shit. I did, because it made it look like it was something it wasn't. What we were talking about was, first of all, it's not a good way of wording it. What I was talking about was how just like alcoholism kind of just butt fucks people on the reservations. Like just it's a sociocultural thing.
We know this.
Yeah, but to say the natives get fucked up by alcohol.
You're saying as if it's their fault.
Well, I'm just saying, those guys are just sitting around getting fucked up all the time. It's just a clunky way of wording it, which is fine if it's buried in a pod. But like it was a crazy decision to, cue the clip up with that. But I was in Florida. I was on vacation. I was like, all right, I'm kind of over this. I was taking a shit when I cut the clip, and I was like, fuck it, let's just put it out. So it gets like 7,000 views in like an hour. I think the population of Kanawaki is like 8,000.
Okay.
You know? So again, it's not a lot of people, but relatively, I don't know. Just there were
So the whole res shared it to each other and said, this guy is calling us alcoholics.
I think a lot of moms did. You know, I don't know who really actually gets mad about stuff in real life. Some people reached out and said, yeah, it's a funny episode. But that was it. I mean, Samson kind of didn't, he wasn't a huge fan of it. So I took the clip down, no problem. I thought it was funny. Just the wrath of it was kind of amusing.
But what was the wrath?
He
told me he needed to see a lawyer or some shit. He got contacted by.
He didn't need to see a lawyer. He
said he needed to see a lawyer, and he got contacted by fake journalists or something.
He chose to see a lawyer. That was his prerogative. No, so I think the outrage, and it wasn't calling it outrage is so douchey. It didn't even move the needle. In the grand scheme of things, didn't move the needle. But in your own world, when this is happening, and there's 20 or 50 comments, coming in saying fuck these guys, and you're not used to it. Like
one of them was me.
You're part of the problem, dude. Fuck, man. So Samson didn't like it. I took the clip down, and that was that. But then an article got written about it in the local Kanawaki newspaper. And
that's amazing.
Right? That's what I'm saying. So I think the article was entitled "Kanawaki Targeted and Racist Podcast" or something like that. And it's insane. They misquoted it. They misquoted the fucking pod. They're taking stuff out of context.
I love that it was in racist podcast. Like the goal of the podcast is to be racist.
Right, exactly. But here's the thing. They didn't put the piece out until I had a chance to record the following episode by the pool in Miami. And I just addressed it. And I said, I'd like to apologize to like no one type of thing. I kind of slow rolled people and was hey, it was, some shit went down. I think I got to apologize to absolutely no one. I went fucking full Conor McGregor kind of. Which is so sad, for the couple hundred people that listen. But I was like, I got no stakes. Who gives a shit? And I just said, maybe we'll start a race war. We'll go down to the fucking bank. We'll have the Italians on one side, the fucking natives on the other. Unfortunately, I've isolated.
This seems like a terrible idea, but go on.
No, but it was. I rolled with it. I said, I tried to make an appeal to them. Apparently, someone who I was on vacation with, I was there with another couple. The girl I was with apparently once worked there. She's like an auditor. And I was like, that's a good sign. Yeah, it's great. They fucking loved you coming down, collecting more tax from them. But I rolled with it. I'm like, well, did you guys eat together? And she's telling me, yeah, they have this bread called banuk or something. I'm like, okay, that's kind of like focaccia.
I love bread.
We're bridging the gap here. So I just fucked around with it. But so I guess they took that pod and the previous one and said in the next so in the article they're like racist podcast, Kanawaki targeted. In the following episode, Adamo came out and said he'd like to apologize to no one and lamented the fact that he will no longer be able to frequent the golf club and poker club on the reservation, which he previously enjoyed. Now, just the idea of unironically writing that down as if it's not preposterous, as if I'm not joking.
As if it's not satire,
It's crazy. It's crazy. But
that's what they did to Mike.
So I thought it was, right. So I thought it was funny. So I said, all right, cool. I took a screenshot of it. Was like, look at this shit. You believe this? Samson didn't love the fact that it was out there, and that's it. I think he wanted to contact a lawyer to try to get it taken down, and he was too nice with it. That's the thing. Samson is a nice guy at his core, and he reached out to the fucking newspaper and he asked them nicely to take it down. They said no. I'm like, bro, you got to bully them. What are you doing? So I called him on the pod.
Called them?
On my pod, and I posed as my lawyer, and I said, yes, this is Yvan Saint Laurent. I'm a lawyer with fucking Spiegel Cohen and whatever. I'm the personal attorney for the Adamo family. This is one of the clearest cases of defamation libel I've ever seen. The podcast is not racist. And they took it down on the pod. So I called Samson, and I was like, brother.
That's how it's done, bro.
You got to break some kneecaps. You got to break some eggs.
Hold on. You out-Jewed the Jew.
Listen,
they're natives, bro.
Can I be honest? I just got fed up of Samson bringing it up. I was like, buddy, would this make you feel better? Would you sleep better at night? All right, I'll take it down. Yeah, I'll see to it that it get taken down.
And you did.
Yeah.
You're a man of your word.
So that's what happened. Yeah, so maybe I should just stay in my lane and talk about soccer.
Or fake being a lawyer. That works out too.